The holidays are about tradition, family, laughter, and festive feasts. But some beloved dishes have disappeared. Today we're uncovering 23 iconic holiday foods that vanished, and the fascinating stories behind them. Molded jell-o salads weren't just food, they were art. In mid-20th century America, these gelatin creations ruled holiday tables. Housewives took pride in crafting vibrant molds, suspending fruits, vegetables, and even meats within shimmering frames. These salads became a post-war sensation, thanks to the rise of processed foods and the allure of convenience. Jell-o's vibrant colors and versatility made it the perfect centerpiece for festive gatherings, showcasing creativity and abundance. From canned pineapple and cherries to olives and marshmallows, the combination seemed endless, and each creation reflected the personality of the cook. However, by the late 1970s, tastes began shifting toward fresher, less processed foods. The novelty of gelatin's texture faded as health-conscious trends took over. What was once a culinary innovation became a symbol of outdated traditions, disappearing from holiday tables. Molded jell-o salads may no longer wobble their way into our hearts, but they still hold a nostalgic place in the memories of many. Speaking of nostalgia, do you remember the rich, boozy charm of plum pudding? What's a holiday without a little drama? For centuries, plum pudding brought theatrical flair to Christmas celebrations. Families would prepare this dense dessert weeks in advance, infusing it with dried fruits, spices, and a generous splash of brandy. The longer it aged, the better it tasted, or so the tradition claimed. But the real magic happened at the table. Imagine the spectacle of a flaming plum pudding being carried into the dining room, lighting up the faces of family and friends. And the fun didn't stop there. Hidden silver charms brought an element of surprise, with each trinket symbolizing a fortune or wish for the finder. Its origins trace back to medieval England, where it was known as a symbol of abundance and prosperity. But as the years went by, its labor-intensive preparation and rich, heavy nature fell out of favor. While still cherished in parts of the UK in America, plum pudding was often swapped for simpler desserts like ambrosia salad, a holiday staple with a very different vibe. Ambrosia salad, once a southern holiday staple, brought sweetness and color to family feasts. This dessert, whose name means food of the gods, was both indulgent and easy to prepare. Using canned fruits like mandarin oranges, pineapple, and cherries mixed with whipped cream, sour cream, or even mayonnaise, it offered a creamy, tropical flair. Shredded coconut added a chewy texture, while nuts or grapes provided a satisfying crunch. Marshmallows, a common addition, made it a hit with kids. Its vibrant colors and sweet flavor made ambrosia salad a star on dessert tables, symbolizing joy and abundance. However, as tastes shifted toward fresher, less processed foods, the canned ingredients and heavy creams fell out of favor. Modern families sought lighter, healthier options, and ambrosia salad quietly faded away. Still, for those who grew up with it, ambrosia salad is a taste of holiday magic. But if sweet fruit salads aren't your thing, how about a dessert that brought eggnog to a whole new level? Have you ever wished you could eat your eggnog instead of drinking it? That's where eggnog pie came in. This creamy dessert, popularized in the mid-20th century, captured the holiday spirit in every bite. It combined eggs, sugar, cream, nutmeg, and sometimes a splash of rum or brandy, creating a custard-like filling nestled in a buttery crust. Its festive presentation often featured a whipped cream topping and a sprinkle of nutmeg, making it a standout at holiday gatherings. For many, it symbolized indulgence and nostalgia, bringing a beloved holiday drink into a whole new format. The smooth, rich flavors paired perfectly with a cup of coffee or mulled cider. However, as health-conscious eating gained traction, this rich pie gradually lost its place on holiday menus. The effort of baking and its calorie-laden ingredients led many to opt for simpler desserts. Speaking of effort, let's talk about divinity, the candy that once ruled southern kitchens. Have you ever tasted a cloud? That's what biting into divinity feels like. This light, airy southern confection was a holiday tradition made from sugar, corn syrup, and whipped egg whites. Flavored with vanilla and often mixed with nuts like pecans or walnuts, divinity melted in your mouth while offering a subtle crunch. Perfecting this treat required both skill and luck. The sugar syrup had to be cooked to just the right temperature, and humidity could ruin the candy's delicate texture, turning it sticky instead of fluffy. In the days before electric mixers, families would gather to stir and whip the mixture by hand, making divinity making a true holiday team effort. However, its labor-intensive process led to its decline. As quicker, easier desserts gained popularity, the once revered candy faded from tables. Today, it's a rare find, cherished mostly by those who still remember its heavenly sweetness during festive celebrations. Ribbon candy wasn't just a treat, it was a masterpiece of craftsmanship. Originating in the 19th century, this delicate holiday confection required skilled hands and precision. Confectioners would heat sugar syrup until pliable, then stretch and fold it into thin, colorful ribbons. Each piece was a unique swirl of vibrant colors, often flavored with peppermint, cinnamon, or clove. Ribbon candy wasn't just for eating, it also served as a decoration. Families would display the intricate curls in candy dishes, or hang them on Christmas trees, adding a festive touch to their holiday decor. However, the delicate nature of the candy made it fragile and difficult to store or transport. As candy making became industrialized in the 20th century, mass production struggled to replicate the artistry of handmade ribbon candy. Easier to make confections like chocolate gradually took its place. Despite its decline, ribbon candy remains a nostalgic favorite for those who remember its intricate designs and bold flavors. Speaking of bold flavors, let's dive into holiday spice cake, a dessert that once defined festive feasts. Holiday spice cake was a dessert that brought warmth and nostalgia to winter celebrations. Infused with aromatic spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and cloves, the cake filled homes with a comforting fragrance. Molasses or dark brown sugar gave it a rich, earthy sweetness, while buttermilk or applesauce ensured a moist texture. This versatile dessert could be served plain or dressed up with caramel glaze, cream cheese frosting, or a simple dusting of powdered sugar. Many families added chopped nuts, raisins, or candied ginger to make it uniquely theirs. Paired with coffee or tea, it was the perfect afternoon treat or a satisfying finale to a holiday meal. But as holiday menus evolved, simpler or more extravagant desserts overshadowed the humble spice cake. Its old-fashioned charm couldn't compete with modern trends, and it slowly disappeared from most tables. Still, for those who bake it today, holiday spice cake is a delicious reminder of festive gatherings from years past. But what about holiday drinks? Let's raise a mug to the Tom and Jerry cocktail. Have you ever sipped on history? The Tom and Jerry cocktail, a warm, frothy holiday drink, was a 19th century classic that brought cheer to winter gatherings. Created by British writer Piers Egan, it was a luxurious twist on traditional eggnog, served hot instead of cold. The cocktail required a batter made from whipped egg whites and yolks, sugar, and spices like nutmeg and cinnamon. This was combined with hot milk or water, rum, and brandy to create a creamy, boozy drink perfect for chilly evenings. Served in special Tom and Jerry mugs, it became a beloved tradition in the Midwest and Northeast United States during the 20th century. However, preparing the batter was labor-intensive, and its short shelf life meant it had to be made fresh. As pre-made eggnog grew in popularity, the Tom and Jerry cocktail faded from holiday menus. Still, its warm, festive charm lingers in the memories of those who cherish this nostalgic drink. Speaking of nostalgia, let's talk about sugar plums, a treat that's enchanted holiday lore for centuries. What comes to mind when you hear sugar plums? For many, it's the enchanting visions from The Night Before Christmas. But sugar plums aren't actually plums. They're candies that date back to the 16th century. Originally, these treats were made by coating nuts or seeds in layers of sugar, creating a sweet, crunchy shell. By the 19th century, the term expanded to include dried fruits like figs, raisins, or apricots, spiced and rolled in sugar. Their jewel-like appearance made them popular for holiday celebrations, both as a treat and as an edible decoration. They symbolized abundance, joy, and indulgence during the festive season. However, sugar plums were labor-intensive to make, requiring hours of boiling and layering sugar syrup. With the rise of mass-produced candies, they were gradually replaced by simpler, more modern confections. Today, sugar plums live on more in holiday lore than on dessert tables. But if you prefer a savory dish, let's explore the history of corn pudding, a side dish once beloved across America. Corn pudding is a dish rooted in early American history, blending Native American and colonial cooking traditions. This creamy, custard-like side dish combined fresh or canned corn, milk, eggs, butter, and sugar, creating a balance of savory and sweet flavors. It was a holiday staple, particularly in the South, where it often graced Thanksgiving and Christmas tables. The simplicity of its preparation made it a favorite for home cooks. Mix the ingredients, bake in a casserole dish, and serve golden and steaming. The crispy layer on top paired with the soft interior made it irresistible. But as holiday menus expanded to include more diverse side dishes, corn pudding fell out of favor. It was overshadowed by more modern recipes, like green bean casserole or mashed sweet potatoes. Despite its decline, corn pudding remains a nostalgic dish for many families who still treasure its comforting taste during the colder months. Popcorn garlands were more than just decorations. They were a cherished family tradition. Popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, these garlands brought a rustic, homemade charm to Christmas trees. Families would gather to thread plain, air-popped popcorn onto strings, often adding cranberries or dried fruits for color. Making popcorn garlands wasn't just about the finished product, it was about the process. Sitting together, threading each kernel, families bonded while preparing for the holidays. The garlands often had a second life too. After Christmas, they were hung outside as a treat for birds and wildlife. However, as store-bought ornaments and tinsel became more affordable and widely available, the labor-intensive tradition of popcorn garlands faded. Modern decorations offered more convenience and sparkle, leaving these humble strings of popcorn as a nostalgic relic. Speaking of fresh, vibrant holiday traditions, cranberry relish brought a tangy brightness to festive meals until canned options changed the game. Why settle for canned cranberry sauce when you could have something fresher? Cranberry relish was once a holiday favorite, offering a tangy, vibrant twist on the traditional side dish. Made from whole cranberries, citrus fruits like oranges or lemons, and a touch of sugar, this relish provided a zesty burst of flavor to balance rich holiday meats like turkey or ham. Some families added walnuts or apples for extra crunch, while others stuck to a simpler blend. Unlike its canned counterpart, cranberry relish required no cooking, just a quick spin in a food processor or a manual chop. Its bright red hue added a cheerful pop of color to holiday spreads. So why did this dish fall out of favor? Convenience became the main culprit. Canned cranberry sauce was easy to serve and universally recognized, making it the go-to option. Still, for those who make it today, cranberry relish is a tangy reminder of holidays past. But let's turn from tangy to savory with the timeless elegance of chestnut stuffing. Chestnut stuffing wasn't just a side dish. It was a celebration of flavor and tradition. Combining roasted chestnuts with breadcrumbs or cornbread, this stuffing brought a rich, nutty sweetness to holiday meals. Mixed with sautéed onions, celery, herbs, and sometimes sausage or apples, it paired beautifully with roasted turkey or ham. The preparation, however, was a labor of love. Fresh chestnuts required roasting and peeling, a time-consuming task that often tested the patience of home cooks. But the results were worth it. The stuffing's earthy depth and soft, buttery texture made it a favorite at festive gatherings. As quick bread mixes and boxed stuffing options grew in popularity during the mid-20th century, the labor-intensive chestnut stuffing began to fade. Convenience won out over tradition, and this dish became a rarity on holiday tables. Still, for those who make it today, chestnut stuffing is a luxurious nod to old-world holiday feasts. Speaking of luxurious, let's revisit the artistry of gingerbread houses. Have you ever built a house you could eat? Gingerbread houses were a holiday tradition that combined creativity, craftsmanship, and sweetness. Dating back to 16th century Germany, these edible structures gained widespread popularity thanks to the Brothers Grimm's fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. Bakers would craft sturdy panels of spiced gingerbread, assembling them with royal icing, the sugary glue that held everything together. Families decorated their creations with colorful candies, gumdrops, and candy canes, making each house a unique masterpiece. In the 20th century, boxed kits made gingerbread houses more accessible, but they also changed the tradition. While convenient, these pre-made kits often lacked the charm of homemade versions. Modern holiday habits and busy schedules further reduced the time spent on this creative activity. Still, for those who take the time to bake and build from scratch, gingerbread houses remain a nostalgic, sweet holiday ritual. But if you prefer a simpler treat, Candied orange peels might be the answer. What if you could turn fruit into candy? Candied orange peels were a luxurious holiday treat that transformed something ordinary into something extraordinary. The process involved simmering orange peels in sugar syrup until they became tender and translucent, then coating them in granulated sugar. The result was a chewy, sweet treat with a hint of citrus bitterness. In Europe, candied peels were considered a delicacy, often served with coffee or as part of a dessert spread. Some versions were dipped in dark chocolate, elevating them to gourmet status. Their bright, jewel-like appearance made them a beautiful addition to holiday tables or gift baskets. However, the time and effort required to make candied orange peels meant they slowly fell out of favor. As modern confectionery became more accessible, these artisanal treats became a rarity. Today, candied orange peels remain a nostalgic indulgence for those who cherish traditional holiday flavors and handcrafted delights. Fruitcake may be the most misunderstood holiday dessert. Loaded with dried fruits, nuts, and warm spices, it symbolizes abundance and festivity. Dating back to ancient Rome, fruitcake gained prominence during the 18th century when sugar and preserved fruits became more accessible. Alcohol, often rum or brandy, was used to enhance its flavor and preserve it for months. For centuries, fruitcake was a luxurious treat, representing wealth and celebration. Families often made it weeks or even months before Christmas, allowing the flavors to deepen as it aged. Its long shelf life also made it ideal for gifting. However, modern palates grew weary of its dense texture and intense sweetness. As lighter desserts gained popularity, fruitcake became a polarizing treat, either loved or loathed. Despite its decline, it remains a nostalgic symbol of holiday tradition. Speaking of desserts that bring a pop of color to the table, let's dive into the vibrant world of grasshopper pie. Why was this green pie once the star of holiday desserts? Grasshopper pie, a no-bake treat inspired by the grasshopper cocktail, combined crème de menthe for its signature green hue with crème de cacao for a hint of chocolatey sweetness. Whipped cream and marshmallow fluff gave it a light, airy texture, while its graham cracker or chocolate cookie crust added the perfect crunch. Grasshopper pie rose to fame during the 1950s and 1960s, a time when gelatin-based and no-bake desserts were all the rage. Its minty flavor made it a refreshing addition to holiday spreads, offering a festive contrast to heavier dishes. But over time, grasshopper pie was overshadowed by more intricate desserts, and its popularity waned. Modern holiday tables now favor diverse options, leaving this minty marvel behind. Still, for those who remember its cool, creamy charm, grasshopper pie holds a special place in holiday nostalgia. Speaking of British classics, let's revisit the medieval roots of mince pie. Have you ever wondered why mince pie isn't as popular in the US as it once was? This traditional British dessert has medieval origins, when it was made with minced meat, dried fruits, and spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. These ingredients were rare and expensive, making the pie a symbol of wealth and celebration. By the 19th century, the recipe evolved into the sweet treat we recognize today, filled with dried fruits, suet or butter, and sometimes a splash of brandy or rum. In Britain, mince pies remain a holiday staple, often enjoyed with a dollop of cream or custard. In America, however, the pie's strong flavors and unique texture didn't appeal to evolving tastes. Over time, simpler desserts took its place, and it faded from holiday menus. Despite its decline, mince pie remains a cherished part of British Christmas traditions. But let's bring things closer to home with a comforting American favorite, Christmas morning coffee cake. Christmas morning coffee cake was more than just a breakfast. It was a tradition, often baked the night before. This rich, sweet cake made holiday mornings feel special. Infused with warm spices like cinnamon and nutmeg, and topped with a crumbly streusel of sugar, butter, and flour, it paired perfectly with coffee or cocoa. Some families added chopped nuts, dried fruits, or even cream cheese fillings for an extra touch of indulgence. Its aroma filled homes, building anticipation as gifts were unwrapped. The cake was easy to make ahead, saving busy families time on Christmas morning. But as store-bought pastries and pre-packaged options grew in popularity, the homemade coffee cake began to fade. Today, it's a nostalgic relic for those who remember its comforting taste and the joy it brought to holiday mornings. While coffee cake warmed American kitchens, medieval feasts were defined by a far grander centerpiece, the legendary boar's head. What could be more dramatic than a roasted boar's head carried into a dining hall, accompanied by song? In medieval England, the boar's head was the ultimate showpiece at Christmas feasts. This dish symbolized wealth, power, and the triumph of light over darkness during the winter solstice. Preparation was no small task. The boar's head was cleaned, stuffed with herbs and fruits like apples and cloves, and roasted to perfection. Often adorned with a sprig of bay or holly, it was paraded into the banquet hall, a spectacle that impressed guests and celebrated abundance. However, as hunting declined and culinary tastes shifted, this elaborate centerpiece fell out of favor. Simpler dishes replaced it, and the boar's head became a relic of medieval holiday traditions. Today, it's mostly seen in historical reenactments or as a nod to Christmases long past, offering a glimpse into the grandeur of feasts from another era. Hot buttered rum was the ultimate winter warmer. This rich, spiced drink dates back to colonial America, when rum was a staple of the colonies and spices were a prized import. To make it, a butter-based batter was combined with dark rum, brown sugar, and a medley of warming spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. Hot water or cider was added, creating a cozy, indulgent drink perfect for cold nights. Hot buttered rum became a favorite for holiday gatherings, evoking images of hearthside chats and festive cheer. Its buttery richness and aromatic spices made it a treat that appealed to nearly everyone. But as new holiday beverages like eggnog and mulled wine gained prominence, hot buttered rum began to fade. The time required to prepare it also didn't help, making it less appealing in an era of convenience. Speaking of labor-intensive treats, let's explore the artistry of marzipan fruits, a holiday delight once celebrated for its craftsmanship. Have you ever marveled at food that looks too beautiful to eat? Marzipan fruits were a holiday favorite that blurred the line between art and confection. Made from finely ground almonds, sugar, and water, marzipan was sculpted into miniature fruits, apples, oranges, bananas, and more, then painted with vibrant food coloring to bring them to life. This centuries-old tradition originated in Europe, where marzipan was considered a luxurious treat. Its delicate almond flavor and smooth texture made it a festive favorite, often displayed as edible centerpieces or gifted in ornate boxes. For many, it was a symbol of the holiday season's elegance and indulgence. However, as mass-produced confections became more accessible, marzipan fruits began to disappear. Their craftsmanship and cost couldn't compete with simpler, more affordable treats. Today, they are mostly found in specialty bakeries or as nostalgic relics of holiday pasts. But if you crave rich, spiced desserts, persimmon pudding might take you back to simpler times. Persimmon pudding is a dessert steeped in autumnal tradition. Made with ripe persimmons, eggs, sugar, and warm spices like cinnamon and nutmeg, it captures the essence of harvest season in every bite. The pudding is often baked to a dense, moist texture, sometimes with added nuts or raisins for extra flavor. This dish was particularly popular in rural America, where persimmons grew in abundance. Its deep, earthy sweetness and festive spicing made it a beloved dessert for Thanksgiving and Christmas gatherings. Served with a dollop of whipped cream or a drizzle of caramel sauce, it was a decadent yet humble treat that connected families to the bounty of the land. However, as persimmons became less commonly used in mainstream recipes, this pudding faded from holiday menus. It was replaced by less niche alternatives like pumpkin pie or bread pudding, leaving persimmon pudding as a nostalgic memory for those who once savored it during the holidays. Each vanished dish reflects a story of change. Which holiday favorite would you bring back? Comment below and subscribe for more fascinating tales of traditions lost to time. Let's keep history alive.